Hello there, welcome back to Language Professora. Today we are looking at The Sun's Eye. That's a short story book. And the story that we're going to be looking at is The Village Washer. That story was written by Samuel Selvon. Let's talk a little bit about Mr. Selvon. He was a Trinidadian novelist, he has since passed, and short story writer. He was quite known for the way that he would write about Caribbean life, especially using his homeland of Trinidad as a backdrop. You can do a little bit more research on him. There are some novels that he's quite famous for, and he was writing in and around the same time as other well-known writers like V.S. Naipaul. But let's talk about The Village Washer. The story is set sometime around the war. Now, based on the era in which Mr. Selvon wrote, we can deduce that this might be somewhere around World War II. The Caribbean was very involved in the war effort at that time of history. So it's quite likely that it's around World War II. Maybe just a little bit after World War, because there are some things in the story that allude to wartime. The place, in terms of the setting, is definitely Trinidad, and it's in a village called Sans Souci. There is an allusion to another village called Donkey City, but all the action takes place in Sans Souci. As far as time goes, it's over a period of weeks, maybe about a month or two. That's a stretch, but definitely over a period of weeks. Who are our characters? We have two main characters that are given names. We have Malambi, and Malambi is the main village washer in Sans Souci. She is said to be old and black, and she has bowed legs. Bowed legs is what you call like when your legs are bowed outwards. It's supposed to be something that persons look at it as really pretty or cute or handsome, but that is how she's described. She used to be quite hardworking, but at the time of the story, she has become quite lazy. And this is evidenced by the description of what she used to do for her clients in terms of mending torn clothes, using extra soap, using extra water. And now she's not doing all of that. So there is description of the condition in which the clothes is coming back to the villagers, in terms of some still being dirty, some being so torn that they can't be used, buttons missing, and all of that. So what you're seeing is a description rather than, you're seeing a description rather of Ma Lambi in terms of her character, what she used to be, what she now is. Our other main character is Ma Prokop. Now, Ma Prokop is the new village washer, and she has moved to Sans Souci from Donkey City with the intention of taking over the laundry business from Ma Lambi. Not in a friendly manner in terms of, oh, Ma Lambi is retiring and so Ma Prokop is taking over. No, taking over in terms of she's there to take Ma Lambi's business from her. Ma Prokop heard about what was going on in Sans Souci, and so she decides that she's coming to take over. We see, based on what is told about her, that she is kind and that she is a very hardworking person. Let's now get into the plot a bit. So the story opens and we're given a brief summary of the problem. Remember that when it comes on to our plot, we are looking out for three things. We're looking out for the conflict, we're looking out for the climax, and we're looking out for our resolutions. Between the conflict and the climax, We have suspense being injected to carry the story along, to fuel the fire that keeps the reader engaged because they want to see what's going to happen next. What's going to happen next? Sorry. So we are given a summary of the problem. All of what I said before about Malambi, we're told that, she was the village washer, what she used to do, what she's now doing, and the fact that she has become very careless. So the problem that we have is that Malambi is not doing a good job as the village washer. That's the problem the villagers are facing. When they complain to her, she's making excuses. She is saying that she got the clothes in that condition. She is basically doing this because she has what is called a monopoly on the industry. She's the only person in the village who is able to take on the task of washing everybody's laundry. Well, not everyone, because there were a few villagers who did their own laundry, but then everyone else had to depend on Malambi. And the nature of the village is most of the villagers work in the cane field. And so because they work during the day, and maybe long hours at that, they don't really have time to do their own laundry. And so those who are not able to, they have to depend on outside sources. That is where Malambi came in. So you can see where, because she knows she has a monopoly on the industry, she's, becoming very careless with it. Because no one else is going to do it, apart from those who may decide that they have to. No one else is going to do it, and so she's quite careless with it. And to add insult to injury, she decides to raise her prices. I think based on what I saw, it's maybe like a 50% increase. So the quality of the work is not good, and she's raising prices. So there we have some conflict being injected once again. Ma Prokop hears about this situation, and she decides, okay, so there is this village, and the village washer is not doing what she's supposed to do. I can pop in and I have an opportunity to take this business from her. Because if I can undersell her, if I can do more than what she's doing and charge less than what she's charging, I have a good setup here as it pertains to business. So Ma Prokop decides to move from Donkey City to Sanssouci to take over the business. The first thing that she does is she puts up a notice, and we can also see the level of education in the village, because the notice is badly written, but only 3 persons in the village can read anyway. And those 3 persons spread the word that Ma Prokop is here. She is taking on laundry. She's taking it at pre-war prices. And the word spreads. Now, what is happening is that Malambi realizes what is happening, and she decides that she's going to counteract. We're going to see her counteraction in a bit. But within a week, so the Saturday that she goes around to collect laundry, nobody gives her anything. So right away, we know that she's in a crisis. By the time the week runs off, she lost all her customers. She decided that she was going to try and advertise that she's in conversation with some washing machine company. Now let's think about it. This is in the middle of the 1950s, 60s, thereabout, maybe late 1940s. Electricity in a rural village in Trinidad was not a thing. So when she's talking about getting this washing machine, it was clearly a lie, and it became almost like a teasing point where persons were telling her, wash up, washerwoman, and stuff like that. But it was a failed attempt at regaining her clientele. Malambi is not done though. She's not going to go down without a fight. So she now starts to spread rumors around the village about Ma Prokop. The first thing that she does was she starts to tell lies that she's nasty and she's sickly and all of those things, and they better be careful they don't catch a disease from her etc., etc. That doesn't work, because what the villagers saw is Ma Prokop is very clean in terms of doing the laundry. She went the extra mile of using her own supplies to fix tears and put on buttons and everything. Basically, everything that Ma Lambi used to do before she got careless. And she's also quite nice to the children. So all of those things prove that what Ma Lambi was saying about Ma Prokop is actually a lie. The next thing that Ma Lambi starts doing, though, is she starts to spread rumors that Ma Lambi, sorry, let me get my Ma's straight. Ma Lambi starts to spread rumors that Ma Prokop is an Obia woman. What is happening, though, is to match up with that story, strange things begin happening in the village. And think about it, it's a rural village. Superstition in the Caribbean is a thing. And so strange things begin to happen, and people's superstitious minds are playing tricks on them. And so they're seeing things, they're hearing things. And so it's easy for them to believe the rumor that Ma Prokop is an Obia woman. What is actually happening, though, and we have some amount of irony being injected if you're thinking about your literary devices, because the same thing that Ma Lambi is accusing Ma Prokop of doing is what she herself, Ma Lambi, has started to do. And this injects some suspense. Remember now, the purpose of suspense is to get you thinking, what's going to happen next? Is this going to be discovered? Are they going to find out what is really going on? So we have our first level of suspense, major suspense, being injected here. Ma Lambi has started practicing black magic in order to convince the villagers that it is Ma Prokop who is working Obia. So we want to hold on to this suspense point and wonder now, will the villagers find out who the real Obia woman is? The ultimate thing that Ma Lambi does is she poisons a tree. And after poisoning the tree, she makes a quote-unquote prediction that the tree is going to dry up. And the drying up of the tree proves that Ma Prokop is working Obia. All right? So remember, Ma Lambi is setting the stage for all of the things that she's saying about Ma Prokop to be proven true. A few weeks later, the tree actually dies, and the villagers, being the superstitious people that they are, believe that what Ma Lambi has been saying about Ma Prokop is actually true. This is the evidence. The tree has died. Now, with all of this going on, remember, it's a small village. People talk, word travels. Do you think Ma Prokop was unaware? Of course she wasn't. She must have heard the rumors that Ma Lambi was spreading. She must have seen how people were maybe wondering if there was any truth to what Ma Lambi was saying. She has seen how even Ma Lambi herself was treating her. So Ma Prokop is very much aware of what has been going on, but she did nothing. The only thing that we see is that she made a trip to Donkey City and she came back with a parcel, and that again is adding some suspense because the readers are now wondering, okay, Ma Prokop has said nothing, but she made this trip and she came back with this parcel. What's in the parcel? What was the trip all about? Okay, so we're building up to our climax now, you know. So we have several things that have happened. We have the tree dying. We have Ma Lambi practicing black magic. We have Ma Prokop and her strange parcel. A lot of things that we need to know what's going on. Now, Ma Lambi sets the stage yet again. She says, listen, you need to test Ma Prokop. You need to test her. You need to confront her, and I'm telling you what you need to look for when you confront her. So she tells them to look for certain things. in Ma Prokop's hut. We are told something. All of these things that Ma Lambi is telling the villagers to look for are things that she herself used in her black magic, and she went and hid them in Ma Prokop's hut. So she's setting Ma Prokop up with the villagers. All right, a lot of suspense building up here because you want to now say to yourself, okay, will the villagers find it? What will the result be? Will they think it is really Ma Prokop's stuff? The villagers go to Ma Prokop's house, and just as Ma Lambi had told them, they find the items. They find them. Now, what's going to happen? Ma Prokop is very calm, very cool, very collected. So the villagers decide to test her with a mirror. Clearly, this is something that takes place in Obia or in black magic or superstition or witchcraft, where there are some tests that you can put people through to see if they are really practitioners of witchcraft or the dark arts. And so they put the mirror in Ma Prokop's face. Nothing happens. Clearly, what is supposed to happen is there is supposed to be a reaction to seeing your own reflection if you are someone who is practicing witchcraft. But nothing happens. Ma Prokop says again, listen, I am not the Obia woman, but let us test Ma Lambi and see what's going on. Before she leaves her house, though, she goes for that strange package. And then they head over to Ma Lambi's house. When they get to Ma Lambi's house, Ma Lambi is a little bit puzzled. She tries to put on a bravado, but she's a little bit puzzled because she's not expecting the tables to turn on her. The villagers were supposed to find the stuff at Ma Prokop's house, find out that she's the Obia woman, and I guess chase her out of Sans Souci. That did not happen. So we are now at the climax where Ma Prokop faces off with Ma Lambi. She confronts her with her own mirror and cross. And this is where it gets a little bit strange, because one would say, okay, the mirror and the cross. But underneath her breath, Ma Prokop was muttering some stuff. To this day, I guess we do not know what she said, but whatever it was that she said, it put the fear of everything almighty into Ma Lambi. And she is the one who instead runs away screaming. The same response that Ma Lambi expected the villagers to get from Ma Prokop with the mirror is the response that Ma Lambi herself gave when she was presented with the same test. And the next day, we have a very quick resolution. Ma Lambi moves out of Sans Souci. And that's the end of our story. So we have a clear problem. The village washer is not doing the job properly. We have an initial response to the problem with Ma Prokop coming in and taking over the business, but there is still another problem because Ma Lambi does not want her business to go, and so she begins to do things to try to get back her business. Then we have the suspense being added in with all of the things that were happening, all of the activities that Ma Lambi was undertaking. We have the climax with the confrontation. We have like a mini climax before when the villagers confronted Ma Prokop, but we have our main climax with that confrontation between the two village washers. And then we have ultimately one of them, which is Ma Lambi, having to leave. And if we think about connecting our dots, the problem of the village washer not doing her job properly is resolved by what? Having a new village washer in the person of Ma Prokop. The themes that we're looking at with this story are themes of rural or village life in the Caribbean. And we're also, of course, looking at the themes of Obia and superstition. In a nutshell, that is the village washer. That is the village washer. This story could go a lot deeper, but on a surface level, as just an introduction to the story, I think this will suffice. Happy reading!